Parents, your team just finished AP exams this week and the August SAT is right around the corner. Here's exactly what your team needs to be doing. For those of you guys who don't know me yet, my name is Jared Wynn. I'm the founder and director of Geometry Guru's SAT Prep. And at this point in my career, I've helped hundreds of students increase their SAT scores so that they can go to their dream colleges or qualify for scholarships. With that being said, let's get straight into it. If your team just finished AP exams and they haven't started prepping for the August SAT, they need to start right now. Do not be that family that takes a random 1 to 2 week break in between studying for the AP exams and the SATs. Why? Because your teen is going to be extremely out of rhythm. And not to mention, you only have 15 weeks until that August exam. If you take 2 to 3 weeks off right now to practice for final exams or whatever, then all of a sudden you only have 12 weeks of prep. Not to mention, most of you guys have summer vacations coming up. You're going to Italy, you're going to Rome, wherever you're going, right? That's going to take another 1 to 2 weeks off of your entire prep. The best students actually started prepping 2 to 3 weeks ago, but you're not too late as long as you follow these 3 steps I'm about to share with you right now. So once you guys have decided that you're not going to be taking a random 1 to 2 week break after AP exams and you're starting SAT prep now, you need to do what we call here the efficiency index. Now, this is where a lot of students get this wrong. They think that they need to focus on everything. They go front to back a textbook or they go front to back Khan Academy, but it doesn't get them anywhere and they get bored because it doesn't pertain to what they actually need to do. It's not targeted to them. So what they need to do is that they need to do a comprehensive diagnostic process on themselves so that they can see exactly which of the 64 SAT concepts they actually need the most help on. Not just, hey, what are they getting wrong, but why are they actually getting those things wrong? Because reality is there's only 3 reasons why you would ever get something wrong in the SAT. Number 1, you never learned it, maybe you forgot it, or you just never understood it in the first place. That one's pretty straightforward. Number 2 is they know how to do it, but they don't know how to do it in 30 to 60 seconds, which is required for the SAT on average per problem. Third one is fatigue. They do not have the stamina to make it through the entire test. They spent so much time on the beginning portion of the exam that by the time they got to the end part of the exam, they were fried. They were making silly mistakes. The problem is that if your team doesn't understand why they're making the mistakes, then I don't care how much raw practice, how many practice problems they do, they're never gonna get to that root cause as to why they're making the mistakes. Let me give you an example to really hammer this home. Let's say your team got something correct on the exam. You might not think that they need to work on it because they got it correct, but what if that same problem took them 5 minutes to do? Even if they got it right, is that a strength? Probably not, because you spent 5 minutes on it. On the contrary, let's say you got the next 3 problems after that one incorrect, but you only had 10 seconds to do each problem because you were rushing through it because you spent so much time on the previous problem. Does that mean that these are necessarily a weakness? No, you have to do a little bit more digging than that. So what I'm trying to show you guys is that it's not enough just to be like, hey, you got this wrong, do a million problems that look like that. You got to figure out what does that problem look like in the context of the regular exam so you actually know what to target. That's going to go into step number 2. Step number 2 is what we call here the pressure protocol. Now, here's where a lot of students go wrong. They have no structure. They just blindly do practice. They do a 30 minutes of problem here, 30 minutes here, an hour here, an hour next week. There's no real structure or consistency in their prep. And even if they understood what their weaknesses were, that's just not enough volume or repetition to really get anything done. So what you have to do here is that your team needs to, once they understand which of the concepts they need to work on, they need to use real SAT problems that mimic the same types of problems that they're missing right now, except you got to use problems that are slightly harder than the real thing and that they're timed as well. The reason why you need to do this is because, yes, your team needs to be able to learn the concepts, the strategies, the techniques, yada, 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 of course. But they need to be able to apply those concepts in an environment that is slightly harder than the real thing. So by the time they see the real thing, they're just like, okay, yeah, you've done this a million times. It feels like nothing to you. And what happens is the students, they think that it's just enough to do a bunch of practice problems, but they're just way too easy for them. So they think that they're getting better. They think that they're doing well. But when they see the real pressure of the exam, they're just like, hey, this is harder than anything I've ever done before. So they need to make it so that the perceived difficulty of the real thing is lower than what they're used to. Okay, that's exactly why you need to do step number 2. Step number 3 is what we call here the test simulation. Now, the importance of the test simulation is this. Just like in step number 2, a lot of students use practice exams that are just way too easy for them in comparison to the real thing. They'll use the Blue Book, they'll use Princeton Review, whatever. And then those tests are just 100 points, sometimes even 150 points, way too easy in comparison to the real thing. So then they take the real thing, they bomb it, and they never want to study for it ever again. All right, so what we have to do here is that you have to use tests that are slightly harder than the real thing. So by the time you see the real thing, it's just kind of like clocking in, clocking out, feels like any other Saturday for you. A lot of your teens are student athletes. A lot of your teens are musicians. A lot of your teens are theater kids. If you're an athlete, right, how many times has your coach done this, right? They told you, hey, you practice the way you play the way you practice. Same thing with choir or same thing with theater, right? It's like how many times do they do dress rehearsal before they go in front of the real thing? Dozens and dozens of time. It is the same exact thing for SAT. SAT is not one of those things. It's not like school where you can just memorize a bunch of things, regurgitate it on a piece of paper, and all of a sudden you get a 1500. That's not how it works, family. This is a very strategic test. And that's why you need to be extremely consistent in terms of everything. That actually brings me to my last thing. Your team needs to be very, very consistent. And this kind of goes back into what we talked about in the pressure protocol, right? But if your team is doing those 3 steps, but they're only doing it, once every couple of weeks, they're only doing the efficiency index, the pressure protocol, and the test simulation, once in a while, this is not going to work for them, family. The best students, the ones that I've seen get the 1500s, even close to the 1600s, they do a little bit of work every single day, about 45 minutes to an hour every single day. It's just like going to the weight room, right? If you just work out once a week, you're not going to get any stronger. You're not going to get any bigger. Same thing for SAT, right? You need to follow that process to a T up until that August exam. And I guarantee you those 15 weeks of sacrifice or 12 to 15 weeks of sacrifice, that's going to be more than enough for your team to get the results that they're looking for. And a lot of the parents I talk to is like, I don't know if he's going to have time for that. It's like, well, then you got to make some sacrifices here. There's a reality check that I need to give to parents as well, right? Is that if they're not able to do this now for SATs in high school, they're not going to be able to do this once they go to college. If you think high school's hard now, wait until they get to college, right? They have way less time. So you might as well learn the skill set now so that you don't suffer later on. And if all it took was 15 weeks of dedicated prep to get your team the results that they're looking for, is that not worth it? I'll leave it to you at that. All right, family, that's it for today's video. If you guys need help applying this strategy to your team's unique situation, go ahead and send me an email or send me a DM. I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. No obligations. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.